Good morning and welcome back again for our second part of today's rhyming lessons. So in writing this week, we're going to be looking at rhymes and poems, and we're going to carry on with that for the next couple of weeks. So let's look at our learning intention. It says, I'm learning to recognize and recreate repetitive rhyming patterns so that I can write my own rhymes and poems. So there's quite a few big words in that learning intention. So let's pull that apart and have a little look. It says, I'm learning to recognize. So recognize means to find, to point out, okay? And then to recreate. So to copy or to make my own repetitive rhyming patterns. So something that's repetitive is something that repeats. So we want to make a repeating rhyming pattern, something that happens again and again and again. And why do we want to do that? We want to do that so that we can write our own rhymes and poems. So today we're just going to have a little look at some of those rhyming words and rhyming patterns in poems. So how will you know you're successful? I will know I'm a successful learner if I can find the rhyming words in poems. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to read some poems and find the rhyming words. And if we can make our own rhyming word strings like we did this morning, and we're going to use that throughout the weeks to when we write our own poems. And then if you can recognize the repeating rhyming pattern or the repetitive pattern in the poem. So that is our orange dot this morning. That is an extra little challenge that you can try. Right, let's have a look at our poem. Here we go. So what we want to do in this poem, we want to find the rhyming words first of all. I have a little frog. I have a little frog. His name is Tiny Tim. I put him in the bathtub to see if he could swim. He drank up all the water, he gobbled up the soap, and when he tried to talk, he had a bubble in his throat. So let's look at the first part of the poem. I have a little frog. His name is Tiny Tim. I put him in the bathtub to see if he could swim. Now, if I listen very carefully, Tim and swim both end with M, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to colour those words the same colour. So I've got twim and swim. You can take a highlighter or you can circle your words so that they can stand out. Tim and swim. Let's have a look at the next part of the poem. He drank up all the water, he gobbled up the soap, and when he tried to talk, he had a bubble in his throat. Okay, so what I think is supposed to sound here is soap and throat sounds quite similar. So they are supposed to be our rhyming words in this poem. Okay, so they have been coloured in the same colour, soap and throat. Have a little think, where do you see the rhyming words in a poem? Is it at the beginning of the line or the end of a line? If you said at the end, that is right. Most of the time in poems, the rhyming comes at the end. All right, now let's have a look where the rhyming happens. What is the pattern? So in our first line, I have a little frog. His name is Tiny Tim. Does line 1 and line 2 rhyme? Frog and Tim. No, they don't rhyme. I put him in the bathtub. Does frog and bathtub rhyme? No, they don't. To see if he could swim. But Tim and swim rhymes. So line 1 and line 4 of the poem rhymes. Okay? So this is line 1, line 2, line 3, and line 4. Okay? So line 2 and line 4 rhymes. In the next verse, it happens again. Every second line rhymes. So that is our rhyming pattern. Okay, that every second line rhymes. It's not the same rhyme. Tim and swim is not the same rhyme as soap and throat, but Tim and swim rhymes and soap and throat, although not quite, rhymes. So your job today is to go and have a look at some poems and find the rhymes. Have fun!